Alright, so we're back again for another one.
Good to see you again.
It's good to see you as well. And we're dealing with REIGN of the Supermen today. One of the biggest stories that's been told in the DC universe. Obviously a story about, at least when I was looking back at it earlier today, a story about what Superman inspires in the world, even with his absence, whether that's positive or negative. Can you speak a little to that?
What you said is basically the core of kind of like what I think that's the thing that sort of focused us, as far as like decisions that we've made. The source material itself is gigantic, right? It's a year-long at least event, right?
Right.
That happens over multiple books. Mm-hmm. So, what do we do? Do we pick one of the stories? Do we pick part of the stories? So the other difficult thing is like we have this line of movies, right, is part of a continuity that James Tucker, the executive producer, has been building, and so like the death of Superman obviously is in that continuity. So I think very early on they decided that we're just gonna, the things that you said, the themes of what happens after Superman dies. These four Supermen show up, and what are they about? Like, why do they show up? Right? But then also, like, what happens to the world? And then how do these four Supermen react to the events that are happening, or they're causing these events to happen? And so. In a way, like the plot is sort of goes along with sort of what James is building already, but these characters are just reacting, and hopefully again, like, because that was one of the things that for sure we were thinking about was like what makes these characters. Each of the four, like, who are they? Why are they there? What are their motivations, and how would they react? Or what would happen to them given this plot that happens? So,
I know that there was, at least in the comics, there was some division among people citizens that seem lost after Superman's death, and then they sort of cling to these new Supermen that step into the spotlight to fill the hole.
Yeah.
Was there any talk about or discussion about like how this theme of, I don't know, misplaced idealism?
It's funny because that is very firmly into the story. Mm-hmm. There was an interviewer earlier that was asking me, what's the story about, basically, and I think it is. It's more about the people in a way. It's like, these things happen, but who do they ally with? You know what I mean? And what decisions do they make? Do they shortcut things? Do they fight against it? Do they, or who do they rally behind? Those type of things.
Well, and it brings some interesting questions, I think, too. Like when you end up reflecting back again on Superman, you're looking at these other Supermen coming in and determining whether they can fill that hole or where they lack what maybe Superman originally had. I would love to hear your thoughts on why Superman, the Clark Kent, obviously the version that has died, why he is able to be the character that we know and love, the character that this world needed, and what these characters are lacking or struggling against, that they can't step into that space.
Well, at least I think in this story, and again I'm sort of stripping it all down and generalizing, right? I kind of feel like the basis of Superman, I kind of feel like, is he's more of a clean slate.
Okay.
He doesn't come with a lot of baggage and a lot of things that are like either, things that he's like struggling with or agendas, So I think that he, again, is just somebody that's purer, things are simpler. And I think maybe that's what fans in this era don't like, because he is the Boy Scout, he is the simple. He's kind of.
Right.
It's more complicated, obviously, because he does have things. You know?
Sure, yeah,
but for the most part, I mean, again, if you sort of boil down the essence or whatever, his life is not that complicated compared to. There's nothing he's trying to revenge or you know what I mean, or prove anything, or he's got some sort of agenda.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there really is like a purity of spirit or a genuine nature, almost what you can think like any leader, if they have that genuine nature, sort of attracts people. What do they believe? Their hope.
Yeah. And he sort of sees things a little bit less clouded than that.
Sure.
Too. So.
Well, now this comic came out in the mid-'90s. It was very much in the '90s style.
Yeah.
Did you have to do a lot to adjust it in regards to take some of the '90s-ness out, or was it something that you leaned into in certain ways?
Well, again, it's because it's in the existing universe that we have already.
Yeah, has to match that.
It has to, yeah. So we're telling it from this time. But he does have a mullet. So that's
excellent.
why.
That made it in there.
Right,
huh?
right.
All right. Excellent. We'll wrap it up by saying, I've been asking a lot of people, are you a classic Superman suit individual, or are you the black suit Superman individual?
I think I'm a classic. But again, I'm not. It's funny because again, like when, growing up, I wasn't a huge DC fan.
Okay.
I don't know if I should be saying that, but so again, it's just like the things that are imprinted in my brain as far as the fandom is the classics. Because I remember this one time. This is a tangent, but like on a movie that I was working with Bruce Timm like about over 10 years ago. We were trying to figure out, like, okay, what colors are we going to color Green Lantern?
Okay.
It's like white gloves or green gloves, And I'm like, we got to do the white gloves, It's like, but that was a color thing, from the printing and whatever, It's like, we don't have to do that now. It's just like, but he's got to have the white gloves.
It's really important.
Right. So, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Well, it's nice to see that you're just as much as a fan as we all are as well. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to checking this one out. Thank you so much.
Yeah.